What is up, YouTube? McIntyre here. Today we want to bring you guys a video talking about Dehaka. A lot of people have requested this video as he currently has a really strong place in the meta at the moment. He's a incredibly dominant solo laner and just really brings a lot of pressure to the maps, especially on a lot of the bigger maps like Warhead, where he can rotate off of, a side lane that might not be close to the objective at all. Because of the slower mount speed, I think this guy got a lot of kind of boost onto his kit. And then Blizzard went and reworked some things and gave him a lot of cool utility tools that I think strengthened him even more. And so, although we saw him a lot at BlizzCon, especially out of a team like Fnatic, he's going to see a lot more play now with these newer changes and now that people are aware of how strong Dehaka really is. So, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of Dehaka now. Starting with the first pro is going to be his wave clear, and a lot of this comes from his W talent Darkstorm paired with his level 1 talent Primal Aggression. So this is going to increase the duration of your Darkstorm, and it deals 90% bonus damage to minions. So essentially it lets you like auto attack each of the backline twice while you stand in the middle of the wave, and you mostly clear the entire wave. So this is really strong in a solo lane situation because you can clear the wave, and then the enemy has to, if they don't have wave clear, let's say Thrall for example, they then have to try to clear your minions up without losing ammunition on their towers, and a lot of the times you will get ammunition out of their towers. This also means that if you are bottom lane and a tribute spawns top on Curse Hollow, let's say, you're going to clear the wave incredibly fast and then be able to Z up into the enemy team, right? So you can get waves of soak that other heroes might not be able to, but because Dehaka has the global, he's able to. The next we're going to talk about is his sustain, and a lot of this comes from his essence collection. So you gain essence for takedowns and minions dying around you, and then you can consume this essence to heal yourself over 5 seconds. I think I end up saying souls a lot on this one because it's a lot like Diablo, but essentially, when you wave clear, as you go up and kind of wave clear really quickly, or you get a hero kill, you'll get essence and then you can activate this. It's important in team fights too, if you're getting kills, to make sure that you're hitting your D and popping this passive to eat those souls up that you're getting from killing the enemy team. A lot of the Dahakas, a lot of the time I see, don't do that. We also have 2 talents at level 4 that pair really nicely on very wave clear heavy maps. Let's say Braxis, one who collects is really good. You get more essence off of minions. And then on team fight maps where like Sky Temple or something like that, this is a really powerful one. Hero Stalker, essence gain from takedowns increased by 100%. So you can take either of these talents, but again, if you're on Braxis, you're going to be in the lane a lot. You want to take one who collects. And then if you're going to be fighting a lot, then I think Hero Stalker is the better level 4. The next pro is going to be that he is hybrid and burst. This is kind of very similar to Thrall. He has a very high base auto, but he also does a lot of damage through abilities. So Dark Swarm, his Q, even his ultimate, if you choose to take isolation, he applies a lot of damage just through all of his abilities rather than like, oh, this ability is where most of his damage comes from. With that said, Darkstorm is where a lot of his damage comes from, but, if you hit your tongue and you auto them while Darkstorm's going on, you have the ability really to just 1v1 someone and just kill them outright by yourself. And there's not a lot of heroes in the game that can just kill someone solo, and I find that Dehaka is one of those heroes. So this guy, if you do hit your abilities correctly, you can just kill someone by yourself, especially like backline, like the Limings and the Valas and stuff like that. The next pro is going to be CC. So we just talked about this a little bit with the hybrid burst. Drag is an incredible ability. It's a 1.75 second stun that allows you to drag them. So that means you can drag them and make them stand still. You can drag them further into your team. You can drag them away from your team. You can do all sorts of things. The only thing about this ability that's bad is if any sort of knockback effect happens to you. So it's funny because this tooltip says if Dehaka is stunned or silenced, then the effect ends, but like ETCW, Tychus, Grenade, things like that, if those hit him, then it's canceled as well. So it's not just stuns and silences, unfortunately. So that's the only downside, but even with that downside, it's still incredibly powerful, and it lines really nicely up with other CCs, right? And the last pro is going to be his global. And we talked about this a little bit with his wave clear. But the global, I think, is what makes this guy above and beyond, is being able to get to somewhere when he needs to be there, be it a team fight breaks out, all of a sudden, it's a 2v2, and then you make it a 3v2. Be it a medic is sustaining the enemy team, and you use your Z to global right behind her so she has nowhere to run to. Just that versatility of having the global and being able to be anywhere on the map, I think, is what really pushes him to be such a strong hero in the game. But with all pros come cons, so let's talk about some cons now. The first con is going to be his low mobility, and this really comes into effect with the fact that, yes, you can use your E to dig away with a 16 talent, tunneling claws, so you can move while you're burrowed. But up until that point, if you hit E, you're popping back out right where you're standing. So a lot of the time, people just line up skills on top of your E and just be ready to kill you when you come out. And if you position incorrectly, you're not going to be able to get to your team most of the time without dying, right? So that's the one thing about this guy, is that you do have to position correctly. It's not like ETC. If you get caught out, you can slide out, or Murden, you can jump out. Joe, you have your passive. This guy, if you get caught, the other team is going to collapse, and you have to be very careful of that. You do have, adaptation to try to tank yourself through it, and in your essence, obviously, he does have some things to counteract this low mobility. But with that said, it still comes into play. Like, you can't position incorrectly and get body blocked, because the enemy team will body block you or kill you down, without you getting to your team. The next con is going to be his clunkiness. So this comes with the fact that his drag is very hard to hit. His isolation is very hard to hit. I will say, since recent, adaptation has been the talent to take for me. Heal you for 100% of the damage that Dehaka takes during his 4 seconds of adaptation. So this kind of relieves a lot of the kind of difficulty of hitting isolation, right? If you miss this back in the day, then you're really kind of not applying too much pressure here. With adaptation, you mostly suicide into the enemy team, try to eat up as many cooldowns, and then get a full heal back, and then now your team has no cooldowns to worry about, right? It's a little bit different, but he's still very clunky. Like, his Q is very difficult to hit. Sometimes the laning phase can be a little weird, but this is a hero that if you practice him a lot, the clunkiness kind of goes away, and you understand him. It was almost like back in the day with Leo. I used to think that hero was so bad because of how slow his Q was and all that stuff, and then he became a tier 1 hero where, you had to know how to play him. And now I've gotten to the point where I've practiced him so much that hitting his W is like no thing, right? So it's kind of the same way with Dehaka. The last con is going to be that he has no engage. So this is really, I think, the biggest weakness of him, and a lot of people seem to like to solo tank Dehaka. The problem with that is, like, he isn't going to run at the other team without them seeing him, right? The only way that Dehaka can really engage is with a global behind, or like standing in fog and then getting a flank, right? That's the only way this guy's going to engage. And I will say that, Blizzard gave him the ability to get move speed when he's in brushes at level 1. It's just base into the kit now, so that does help. But yeah, it's not like ETC where, you can kind of be at a standoff and then hit a slide and then go on that person. Or like Murden, you hit the hammer and then go on that person. Like, it's not going to be like that with this guy. He's going to stand around and wait for the enemy to come into him in order to do something. So this is the biggest weakness of this hero, and I think where a lot of people lose points is they solo tank him, and he can do it, right? And again, with adaptation, you basically hit adaptation, suicide into them, and that is your tanking, that is your engage. But if the enemy team plays around adaptation, then you've basically wasted your ult, and now you're caught and probably dead. So my only complaint about him is that he cannot engage unless you're just literally running at the enemy team, and we'll probably see in the gameplay. That's what I'll end up having to do. So depending on how the other team reacts to it will depend on how well I do as Dehaka. So we are going to go into the try mode now. We'll talk about some things there, and then I'll see you guys in the game. Alright, so jumping into the talent build, we've already talked about the first 2 levels. Level 1, you're going to take Primal Aggression. This, again, will help us wave clear. It's just really a powerful talent, honestly. Dark Swarm spell power could be good if you're really against a bursty comp. And let's say you're tanking and you have a Thrall who's solo laning. Then maybe that's the talent to take at level 1. But for the most part, Primal Aggression, you're going to be in the solo lane, hopefully. And this is where you want to be at. Just so good at wave clearing and beating your opponent in the rotation. Level 4, again, if you're in a laning situation, Essence for minions is better. If you're in a kill situation, Hero Stalker's really good. Lurker Strain's pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. I like this talent a lot. And again, even if you're solo tanking, you can take it. It is pretty cool. If you're not playing to play the game very seriously, I'll just throw it out there and say this talent is way cooler than these other 2. But if you're playing for efficiency and to win, I think these 2 are where you want to be at. Right now, we'll just take this just so I can show you guys it. So when you hit E, when you come up, you slow them. But it's really unique because you can E and then E immediately cancel it to slow and then hit your tongue. So like that, right? And that works like in the lane too. So you can run up on the person like this, hit your E, and slow them. So I really like that combo. I think it's really powerful. But again, these 2 talents are almost invaluable at what they do. At level 7, we're going to take Symbiosis. This is going to decrease the cooldown of my W by 0.4 seconds for every time it hits an enemy hero. So if you're hitting like 2 or 3 heroes in a team fight, your W almost has 100% uptime. Especially since we took Primal Aggression, which increases the duration of it, which gives us an extra tick. It looks like it hits 7 times. So 7 times, like, I don't know, twice. It's like almost 8 seconds off, and the cooldown is 8 seconds. So if you hit 2 people, it's about 4 seconds each one, almost. That's very rough. But yeah, so really powerful talent, honestly, and keeps your uptime on W, which is really strong. So when we look at our level 10 talents, again, we're going to be taking Adaptation. So 4 seconds, after 4 seconds, you heal for 100% of the damage you take. So we just show you it on the tower. I'll take some damage since I'm level 20. But we'll pop Adaptation now. Right, so you heal all that damage back. And what's really cool about this talent is you can, since it lasts 4 seconds, you can take a ton of damage right at the start, and then if you're gonna die, hit E, and then you'll get that extra 2 seconds of, you get that extra 2 seconds of your adaptation off to get the heal. This is in the case that the enemy team just bursts you out completely. That means you only have to stand taking damage for 2 seconds, because then once you hit E, you can go under the ground for another 2 seconds, and you'll get the heal out of that, right? So just remember that. Again, I see a lot of Dehakas mess that up, or they'll go in, get caught, hit E, and then come out, hit R. If you're getting caught and the enemy team's killing you, hit your R first, so that you have the backup plan of hitting E if you have to. So the reason we take this talent at 7 is because we were going to take the Primal Swarm at 13. This is basically a mark, a little mini mark, right? So gonna allow your W to provide a 10% extra bonus damage. So it's like a little 10% mark to round the mark when you have W. But again, when you're hitting like 2-3 people, it comes into play. Even when you're hitting the person yourself, adding a mark to that person is gonna increase your overall damage. So now at 16, we have 2 choices, honestly. We can take the Ranged Tongue, or we can take the Tunneling Claws. And I really like Tunneling Claws. Again, it just gets you out of danger, but if you're feeling like you have backup behind you and you won't need to dig away, like as if your team is fighting into them, so if you dig under, then you can walk or past your team, then I think tongue range is better. It's just going to make it easier for you to hit your Q. and your Q is one of your most important skills. So, but you know, tunneling claws, especially if you pair it with lurker strain, it's so cool because then you can do stuff like that, right? So a lot of cool stuff going on there. And then at 20, I'm normally taking Apex Predator on maps where rotations are important. So Warhead, stuff like that. But on maps where you're fighting a lot more, again, Sky Temples, stuff, you know, maybe even a Cursed Hollow. I like Essence Claws, actually. Especially if you're not solo tanking. And then if you're solo tanking, change is survival is actually pretty strong too. Just giving you the extra heal. The only thing I'll say about this is that a lot of the time with this talent, I feel like you're already going to get infinite healing off of this, so there's really no reason to take an even more healing ability, right? And you'd rather take one of these two. Apex Predator is really good because you can Z behind people when you're in a team fight and catch up to them. Essence Claws is really good because you're going to be punching people out and you're just going to basically have infinite sustain because you collect essence every time you auto attack, plus the slow. So depending on the other comp, I'll probably take one of these two if we do make it to level 20. So I'll just show you kind of what Essence Claws does. So again, you can see down here, I'm just gaining souls, and I could just kind of keep my passive going and make sure that I never die, right? Just really quickly too, to show you guys off this movement speed buff. Even if you walk into the brush for a second, you can see the little kind of movement sways on me, right? You get it for a second as you walk out of it too. So if you're ever chasing someone, you can get into the brush, make sure you do that, and then you can just run the person down. You don't have to even hit your W at that point. You just run them down with your W. You don't have to auto them or anything. So again, if you're chasing someone, let's say the person's running like this, you should just run behind them. You should dip into the bush just for a second, just enough to get that move speed. You'll catch up to them. A lot of the time, I see Dehaka players not do that as well, and it's a big deal. Like, it'd be like on Curse Hollow, right? You can just kind of quickly move into that brush, and then you move a little bit faster. But that is the build. Again, you know, we'll show you more once we get into the game. So I'll see you guys in the gameplay. All right, guys. So we're hopping into the game. It's gonna be a spicy one. I'm gonna hit tab. Yeah. So the enemy team has a Cho'Gall, Gul'dan, Chromie, Rhaegar on BOE. I should be able to dominate the Gul'dan and the Chromie, as long as I can get behind them. This is actually a map where I think Enduring Swarm is gonna be better. The reason for that is that I don't actually think I'll be getting many hero kills. And I think tanking the spell damage from the Gul'dan Chromie Gall is gonna actually put me ahead a lot in these team fights. So the essence, you know, it's gonna be a struggle to get the essence, I think. But I will slowly get it. This is a 2-lane map, so this is not really a super good map for Dehaka. Not a terrible map, to be honest. You have a lot of good flank bushes. Oh, my W did think some of that. You have a lot of brushes where you can kind of get flanks on the enemy team. So, but it's not good in the fact that nice hook on the Chromie there. It's not good in the fact that, you know, I'm not gonna be able to get a lot of souls. There's not gonna be a lot of value of like icicle wave and then rotate and beat someone and get ahead. Nice swap. I'm gonna say if I can hit the tongue, this guy's dead. Artanis Dehaka is actually an incredible duo. Like you guys saw when I was talking about pros and cons. One of the cons is that I can't engage. Well, Artanis can engage really well, especially with his swap. And if he swaps them and then I Q them, we instantly kill that person, right? I get hit here. So instead of actually tapping here, I'm just gonna back and use my global. This is another thing you can do with the Dehaka. Like, you don't have to tap well. Oh, please. You can just back and then use your global. This is something I see a lot of the Dehaka players do incorrectly as well. Into the Snarkles. Oh. So close. The spell shield value is insane right now. I'm tanking all of their entire team into the circle. Then we chain our tongue off that, maybe into another circle. Oh my goodness. So we're definitely gonna get some hero kills here. So we'll take the essence for essence. I think we will get hero kills this game, as we've already gotten several. Into the circle. Should be able to get away through the brush. Oh boy, no, Chromie, nice Q. A little too hard on the bait there. I think I maybe played too far up. Honestly, my team had won the objective, so I should have just gone and raced with them. Or I should have just, you know, poked at the Chromie and then left. I'm gonna soak the top lane here. I don't really need to be in the bottom lane. We can get a 2-wave XP lead plus towers since their whole team's bottom. Sometimes you gotta, you know, realize that, okay, you know, let's say there was one person up here and it was someone that was important to their team fight, then maybe I go down bottom instead because we can try to fight them to get the XP lead. But if there's no one soaking top and, you know, I have their whole team's bottom, if I soak top, that means we get ahead a lot in XP, maybe 1 or 2 waves. In this case, 2 so far, and potentially 3 if I can get this wave in. I will say at this point though, the towers are out of ammo, so yeah, so these minions won't die to the actual towers anymore. So we actually don't get any XP ahead, but we can get tower XP ahead, which is kind of the same thing almost, right? With heroes, we're always trying to get levels ahead, right? Levels ahead usually means that we can, you know, beat people to objectives, win the level 10 race, things like that. You know, we got things like that going on. I don't think this guy's respecting my damage at all. And again, I can take a lot of damage here and just back and hit my global, which is what I'm gonna probably end up doing. Yeah, so false ad's here now. I'm just gonna leave actually. And again, I want to save my tap. Not saying that you can't tap, because sometimes you should, but here we go. Like here, I'll tap. Hey, this is a good time to tap. Instead of using my essence, I can tap here. I could have truthfully backed as well and then just walked to the objective, but I think the tapping is fine here. Chickwall did the camp. The hard camp's actually the best camp to get out right before this boss spawns, so I'm gonna go mess with them on my team. It's the boss. It doesn't even look like they're racing us. Since they're not racing, I actually want to get into like a good position to possibly punish a rotation. Like for example, this Chromie that got tongued or stunned. Oh, so close. Move speed almost got me there. I do have 50 souls, so I'm gonna eat my souls right now and start tanking. And since I've already kind of tanked them fairly well, I'm gonna back now and just global in. You can do this with like Brightwing too. Like Brightwing's a hero where you can kind of do the same strategy. After you've gotten chunked, you can just back and global in. You don't have to you know, stand around and try to get healed or look for globes. Just back, do it quick. Don't hesitate. If you're gonna back to get a full heal to keep fighting, then just do it, and you can get a lot of value off of that too. Especially with Brightwing. Brightwing, I mean, honestly, Dehaka, they're kind of the same, right? Because they have globals. When we say like global, and we talk about like Falstad does have his fly, but it's not global. It's not the map. It's very far. Whereas like Dehaka and Brightwing, those are the whole maps, right? Same with even like ETC stage dive. So we're gonna get the fat flank here off of this bush. Should pressure this cooldown. Like, yeah. And now we can just hit adaptation and just tank all we want. Unless their team's just running away. In which case we're not taking any damage. The spell shield is really helping against the Chromie. You should be careful here. Even though we are 10, I think we're supposed to be careful. You never really want to dive keep. We got a lot of value off of the buildings. Also, we have the 2-level lead. Essentially, once you have the lead, like, you just need to hold it. Because then every time something important comes up, then you'll be in a better position for it, right? If we've kept this lead, then, you know, next boss is going to be 13-11 fight. So if they stay here, we're going to global right here. I almost wish that that laser hadn't come out. Or I wish that I would have globaled even further and globaled back to the fat flank bush. Yeah, you have that bush, you have this bush with really good flank. This one's even pretty solid. These side ones are pretty good. Get behind the enemy. See if we can kill this Cho'Gall. I know when I get Mark at 13, you should be able to kill Cho'Gall pretty easily, but I think if we stack up on Cho'Gall right here, it's going to be a pretty easy kill. Even if he punches, I can tongue him on his punch too. That would be really good. Oh, Chromie. I'm going to try to eat this damage. Oh. We killed the Rhaegar for Falstad. Falstad can global back or fly back, so we should go hit now. And I can back for full health and then look for the Z here. This is a good, again, really good flank position, right? Even just catching on rotation, this is something that you want to look to do. See, look at this. Chromie is pretty much dead now. And if I can get a couple ticks of W, yeah, she's dead. I use the souls from the hero kill. And then maybe we just hang out here and wait. Now we're on the Gul'dan. Okay, we can actually kill this guy instead. Never mind. He did so much damage with the Shadow Bolt. Either bomb. I have global up in 10. Adaptation's also in 10, so I'm gonna back. By the time I heal, I'll be able to Z back into the fight. And we're gonna look to go. We'll go here. This is like a super deep fat flank. Like, we're obviously shooting a couple days ahead. We should be able to kill this guy as long as I hit the tongue. Hit the tongue. We'll stand in their team. Try to decrease the cooldown on my W. Nice gust. So I'm just gonna tank this shit. Oh no, Shadow Bolt Wally. Oh boy. Not as tanky as I thought I was. Look at me smashing my essences. It's just like the few ones that I had. I was like, oh yeah, give me that 26 health heal. Alright, so we can just Z down though. He did kill Cho'Gall for me. That's worth. We'll Z down and we can start applying pressure here. Again, I don't have essence. This is going to be the hardest part of this map, right? Is not be able to build up essence. We should get keep here though. I'll eat this. A lot of times Chromie is like combo off of that time trap for the tongue. really good damage with that mark. So that's what I was talking about. When I get mark, I figured that we would get a lot of value off that. Oof. You get 2 souls. You get 2 kills of souls off of the Cho'Gall kill. That's pretty sweet. I did not know that. Should be able to get behind this Chromie. See if we get the tongue. Oh, into the time trap. Nice time trap. Watch the dodge. I think we got the game though. We'll look for Gul'dan. Just hit adaptation. Yeah. So today I learned that if you kill Cho'Gall, you get double the souls, which is pretty sick. I mean, that's 50 souls. The mark I knew would help so much to push the Cho'Gall over. And yeah, honestly, the spell shield put in a lot of work that game. I would have taken, had we made it to 16, the tunnel move, and had we made it to 20, I would have taken the increased speed of your Z and the decreased cooldown. So that way it could have chased down the enemy. But we'll show the build one more time. So we did take the spell's armor, right? And because we were on a small map, we took the takedown essence rather than the minion essence, and then we still went symbiosis with primal swarm. Adaptation to tank a lot of this damage. Worked really well with this Artanis here. Yeah, so it was a really good game, I think. If you guys enjoyed this game, please make sure to throw a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to try to bring you guys as much content as I possibly can. In the comment section below, let me know what you guys think about Dehaka. Is he too overpowered? Do you think he's just right? What would you change about him? Also, let me know in the comments what new heroes you want to see in new videos. I want to continue to make these, so give me some suggestions. What do you guys want to see? You can always follow me on Twitch and Twitter. Those are going to both be located below as well. Thank you guys all so much for the support. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Cheers.